If you're interested in macro photography, the first thing you'll need is a lot of patience. It takes a long time to set up a good macro shot. You have to have a lens that's capable of getting you up close. So a lot of lenses have macro modes. So on the dial, it'll tell you, when you're focusing from this distance to this distance is macro mode. There are special 1-to-1 ratio lenses that give you life size, filling up the entire frame shots. And there's specific macro lenses that are built for macro. So it might be a 100 millimeter lens and you're thinking, wow, that's for zooming in from far away, but not really. It's actually for filling the entire frame with something very close. It lets you focus really closely, extreme precision with the focus dial, and you can do some really great stuff. I mean, if we're using a really shallow depth of field, you can make it look like these little tiny toy trains are literally coming out of nowhere, like a ghost effect, because the aperture is so thick. Since it's filling up the frame, the plane of focus is so thin that everything else just gets washed out in that lovely bokeh effect. So you get really, up close and do some cool stuff. There's special flashes for macro photography too that are made to be gentle because you're getting up close. Anytime you get really close with a flash, you're going to wash stuff out. That reflection, that harsh light is going to just boom, bounce off something. So they make special ring lights for macro photography. You definitely want to have a tripod because when you're zoomed up this close, every little inch, centimeter, millimeter hair that you move is going to make the photo blurry, and you don't want to use a ridiculous shutter speed because you really want to get the smoothness and beauty that is, in the air there with that photography. If we go too sharp with it, then you're going to see lots of grain, lots of little things you don't want to see. So we like these nice smooth flowers, nice smooth tones of the butterfly. So you really want to try to set it up with a tripod and be able to move the camera forward and back if you can, even a little bit. So a tripod that has a head on it that allows you to move the camera slightly forward and back, even that will be very, very helpful. You're going to work a lot in manual focus as well because when you're trying to autofocus this tight in, it can't really pick. The focus point is bigger than the entire thing you're trying to focus on sometimes. So trying to really nail what you want in focus can be challenging. It really helps if you're just doing it manually. And the back of the LCDs of these cameras now have the ability to zoom in sometimes, so you can really zoom up and check the little individual hairs on the item that you're focusing on and make sure that it's in focus. So it requires macro photography a bit of specialized equipment, a lot of patience, and a love for taking that type of pictures because you're going to take a lot of them before you get ones that you find to be beautiful. But it can be an extremely rewarding thing to do.